Every choice you make today is either planting a seed or pulling one out. The law of life is unforgiving. It doesn't wait, it doesn't negotiate, and it doesn't forget. Are you feeding your dreams or starving them? Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment a garden full of potential. Some plants flourish, others wither. The secret, what you choose to nourish and what you choose to neglect. Life operates under one unshakable law of what you neglect will fade and what you nourish will grow. This isn't theory, it's reality. Every relationship, every skill, every opportunity you ignore slowly dies. Every effort, every habit, every positive choice you care for grows stronger. And here's why you must listen closely today, because this is the law that touches everything you value in life: your health, your wealth, your relationships, your happiness. Understanding it can change the trajectory of your entire life. Miss it, and you risk years of regret. By the end of this speech, you'll understand exactly how to identify what to nourish, what to stop neglecting, and how to apply this law so it works for you rather than against you. Neglect is silent. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand attention. It creeps in like a shadow at dusk, unnoticed until the damage is done. Think about the areas of your life that matter most: your health, your relationships, your skills, your dreams. Every single one of them requires consistent attention. Neglect even one of these areas and slowly, without you realizing, decay begins. The human mind is clever in disguising neglect as harmlessness. You tell yourself, "I'll get to it tomorrow," or "it's not urgent now." And the truth is, tomorrow becomes the day after, and the day after that becomes years. Small cracks appear in the dam of your life. The problem is, these cracks don't remain small forever. They widen. They grow stronger. They become the flood that sweeps away everything you once held dear. Take your health, for instance. How many times have you ignored the signals your body is giving you? You skip meals, or you eat whatever is easiest. You postpone exercise because life feels too busy, or because the couch feels too comfortable. You think that missing a single workout, or a few healthy meals, won't matter, but neglect has a way of compounding. Each choice, seemingly insignificant, quietly shapes the future of your body. The skip jog, the extra sugary snack, the late night without rest. These choices accumulate into weakness, fatigue, illness, and regret. You can't bargain with time. You can't negotiate with biology. What you neglect today shows up tomorrow as consequences you weren't prepared to face. Relationships are no different. Love, respect, trust. These are not automatic. They require attention, care, and effort. Think about your closest relationships, whether it's family, friends, or a life partner. How often do we take them for granted? How often do we assume that they will always be there, regardless of our effort? Neglect is like a thief in the night. When you fail to nurture your relationships, when you stop listening, stop showing up, stop expressing gratitude, slowly the connection erodes. Arguments arise not because of one big incident, but because of countless small acts of neglect: missed calls, forgotten anniversaries, unspoken words, inattentive moments. And one day, you realize the distance is too wide to cross, the bond too frayed to mend. People leave, not because you don't love them, but because you stop showing that love in ways that mattered. Neglect doesn't knock. It doesn't warn you. It simply takes. Your skills and personal growth are also vulnerable to neglect. Every talent, every ability, every bit of knowledge you have is like a plant in your personal garden. If you stop watering it, it withers. Imagine a musician who once practiced daily, but now only plays once in a while. Imagine a professional who stopped learning new tools, new methods, or new ideas because comfort feels easier than growth. Imagine a mind that could have written books, started companies, or solved problems, but instead remained idle because effort felt inconvenient. Neglect doesn't just pause your progress, it actively reverses it. Skills that were once sharp become dull. Opportunities you could have seized pass by unnoticed. Confidence erodes because mastery is replaced by complacency. And the irony is that the mind convinces you it's not neglect. It says, "You're just taking a break," or "You'll pick it up later." But later never comes in the form you expect. Think about your dreams. The things that excite you, the visions that make your heart race, they are fragile. Dreams are not self-sustaining. They need your attention, your energy, and your action. Neglect your dreams, and they begin to shrink, not because the world is against you, but because inattention is lethal. The longer you ignore them, the heavier the burden of regret becomes. Dreams require daily choices. Choices to move forward even when you feel tired. Choices to learn even when the path is uncertain. Choices to act even when fear whispers louder than courage. Neglecting these choices is like letting water evaporate from a small stream until it becomes nothing more than cracked earth. You may still remember the dream, but its power diminishes, its possibility fades, and your belief in yourself erodes alongside it. Neglect can be subtle because it doesn't often appear as immediate failure. It is cumulative. A missed opportunity here, a forgotten promise there, a day wasted on distractions. Individually, they feel inconsequential, but neglect multiplies. It multiplies in ways that are invisible until the consequences are undeniable. One day, the career you could have built, the health you could have maintained, the relationships you could have strengthened, they are all diminished. And the most painful part is that much of it could have been prevented with attention, care, and a willingness to act consistently. We live in a world of distractions, and this is the perfect soil for neglect to grow. Social media, endless entertainment, and busy work often masquerade as productivity. We are constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, and without intention, we begin to neglect the areas that actually matter. The tragedy is that neglect often wears the disguise of necessity. You tell yourself, I'm busy with important things, while the things that are truly important, your body, your relationships, your personal growth, your dreams, quietly fade in the background. Time is not forgiving. Life is not forgiving. Neglect is not forgiving. Even within ourselves, neglect can take hold. Emotional neglect, ignoring our inner voice, our values, our passions, it is just as dangerous as neglecting external responsibilities. When you stop listening to yourself, when you stop asking yourself what you truly want, when you fail to align your actions with your values, you live a life that is less than your potential. You drift because neglect has taken the wheel. The small compromises you make daily, accepting mediocrity, settling for less, ignoring your health, skimming over self-improvement, they accumulate into a life that looks normal on the surface, but is hollow underneath. The truth is, neglect does not require effort. It's passive, but it is lethal. You do nothing, and yet it works against you relentlessly. You miss a day of practice, a day of attention, a day of care, and slowly the world shifts. One neglected conversation can turn into a broken relationship. One neglected health habit can turn into chronic disease. One neglected dream can become a lifetime of regret. Neglect is a quiet assassin. It moves in silence, disguising itself as comfort, ease, and normalcy, while quietly dismantling the very things that give your life meaning. To notice neglect is to awaken. To recognize its presence is to reclaim control. But most people do not notice until the damage is visible, until the consequences are unavoidable. The law of life is simple: what you neglect will fade. What you ignore will decay. What you fail to nurture will wither. The problem is that neglect is not dramatic. It doesn't alert you. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't ask for forgiveness. It quietly erodes, and in the end, you are left asking yourself, how did I let this happen? Nourishment is the exact opposite of neglect. Where neglect quietly destroys, nourishment builds, multiplies, and transforms. Life responds to what you feed it. Every action you take, every moment you invest, every choice to care about something is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your future. Imagine a tiny sapling in the forest. Without water, sunlight, and care, it will never grow. But give it consistent attention, and it will not only survive, it will thrive. It will grow strong, reaching higher than you imagined, standing tall, providing shade, producing fruit, and inspiring everything around it. The same is true for every valuable area of your life. Your health, your relationships, your skills, your dreams, all of them respond to nourishment. Consider your health. Health is the foundation of everything. Without energy and vitality, nothing else functions at its best. Nourishment isn't just about eating right, exercising, or sleeping enough, although those are crucial. Nourishment is a mindset that treats your body as the most valuable asset you have. It is showing up every day with intention. It is choosing foods that fuel your body rather than deplete it. It is choosing to move even when the couch is more comfortable. It is choosing rest and recovery when your mind tells you that pushing harder is more productive. Every small effort compounds. Each workout, each healthy meal, each moment of self-care is like a deposit in the bank of your health. The more consistent you are, the stronger your foundation becomes, and the less chance there is that neglect will catch up to you. Nourishment in relationships works in the same way. Love, respect, trust, and connection do not survive by accident. They flourish when you invest in them intentionally. Every meaningful conversation, every act of kindness, every moment of listening, every expression of appreciation, and every shared laugh strengthens the bond you have with the people around you. Relationships are like plants. They must be watered, pruned, and cared for consistently. Ignoring them for weeks, months, or years will leave gaps that may be impossible to close. But if you choose to nourish them daily, if you choose to give attention and love even when it feels inconvenient, the bonds become unbreakable. Nourishment is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is consistent. It is persistent. And the impact is enormous. It multiplies over time. The more you invest, the more it grows, and eventually it reaches a point where it supports you in ways you cannot even imagine. Your skills and personal growth are perhaps the clearest example of how nourishment multiplies value. Talent alone is not enough. Genius alone is not enough. Potential alone is not enough. What matters is the effort you consistently put into developing what you already have. Reading, learning, practicing, reflecting, seeking feedback. These are the waters that nourish your abilities. Each day you invest in yourself, each day you sharpen your skills, each day you push just a little beyond your comfort zone, your abilities grow exponentially. Imagine a craftsman who spends hours perfecting his trade every day. Slowly, the work he produces becomes flawless, remarkable, and sought after. It is not talent that brought him there alone. It is the daily nourishment of attention, effort, and care. In the same way, your knowledge, your expertise, your mindset, and your talents all respond to what you feed them. Neglect shrinks them, nourishment expands them. Nourishment also multiplies the value of your dreams. Dreams are fragile, but they are not powerless. When you choose to act daily toward them, to dedicate time, energy, and focus, they begin to grow. Dreams need attention. They need strategy. They need courage. They need repetition. Small, consistent actions compound into momentum. A single choice to move forward may seem inconsequential, but repeated over days, months, and years, it produces extraordinary results. Imagine an artist who paints a single brushstroke every day. At first, it seems insignificant, almost invisible. But over time, the brushstrokes accumulate into a masterpiece that touches countless lives. This is how nourishment works. It transforms small, consistent efforts into outcomes far greater than the effort itself. Nourishment is not limited to physical effort or time. It is a mindset. It is a commitment to see potential where others see obstacles. It is the belief that your actions, however small, can create meaningful results. When you nourish what matters, you create an environment where growth is inevitable. You begin to attract opportunities, ideas, and people who align with your focus. Success, in its truest form, is never accidental. It is the natural consequence of consistent nourishment. Those who flourish in life are not the ones who are luckier. They are the ones who chose to nourish consistently, patiently, and deliberately. One of the most profound aspects of nourishment is that it compounds over time. The human brain often underestimates the power of small daily actions. One extra hour of learning, one phone call to check in, one healthy meal, one small act of discipline. They may seem inconsequential today, but over weeks, months, and years, they become monumental. Wealth, health, relationships, and personal growth all obey the same principle. Every small, positive action feeds the system. Every day of attention and care builds layers that make the system stronger, more resilient, and more capable of producing extraordinary results. Neglect may erase your progress quickly, but nourishment secures it, amplifies it, and magnifies it far beyond what you imagined possible. Consider the power of emotional nourishment as well. Your thoughts, your mindset, your internal dialogue, these need attention too. Just as you feed your body in relationships, you must feed your mind and soul with positive, constructive, and empowering input. Reading, reflection, meditation, and meaningful connections nourish your inner world. When your inner life is healthy, your external life flourishes. The thoughts you nurture shape the actions you take. The actions you take shape the results you achieve. Nourishment multiplies not only external outcomes, but also internal capacity, resilience, and creativity. Even challenges, when approached with the right mindset, can be nourished into growth. When you face setbacks, obstacles, or failures, you can neglect them, letting bitterness, frustration, and despair take root. Or you can nourish them, learn from them, and use them as fertilizer for your future success. Every obstacle contains a hidden lesson, and by paying attention and acting intentionally, you transform adversity into advantage. This is the secret that few understand. Life multiplies what you feed it, and even difficulties, when nourished properly, become a source of growth and strength that cannot be achieved any other way. Nourishment also teaches patience. Growth is not instant. True transformation, whether in health, relationships, skills, or dreams, takes time. Those who seek immediate results often give up before the compounding power of nourishment has had a chance to work. But those who consistently feed what matters day after day, without the need for immediate validation, eventually reap rewards far beyond what they imagined. The multiplier effect of nourishment is unstoppable once it begins, and it does not discriminate. Those who choose to feed, focus, and nurture are the ones who succeed, even in the face of setbacks, challenges, and adversity. There is a law in life that is absolute. It does not negotiate. It does not bend. It does not wait for convenience or permission. This law applies to everything, and there is no escape. It governs your health, your relationships, your career, your personal growth, and even your dreams. Every choice you make, every action you take, and every thought you entertain is subject to this law. It does not discriminate. It does not favor the lucky, the wealthy, or the talented. It simply works. What you neglect will fade. What you nourish will grow. This is the reality that too few people understand, yet it is the foundation upon which all success, happiness, and fulfillment are built. Consider the simplicity of this law. There are no shortcuts, no exceptions, no loopholes. You cannot wish for success and avoid effort. You cannot expect your relationships to thrive without attention. You cannot expect your health to flourish without care. Every moment of neglect compounds quietly, invisibly, until one day the consequences are undeniable. Conversely, every moment of care, every deliberate choice to invest, to nurture, to improve, compounds quietly and invisibly until one day the results are extraordinary. The law is impartial. It applies to everyone. There is no escape, because life itself is the law's arena, and every action is subject to its consequence. Think about your health. The law does not care whether you are young or old, strong or weak, wealthy or poor. It applies to everyone. Neglect your body through poor diet, lack of exercise, or insufficient rest, and the law ensures consequences will follow. Nourish your body with good habits, consistent effort, and proper care, and the law ensures strength, vitality, and resilience. There is no negotiation. There is no magical moment when neglect stops mattering. The law does not take a vacation. It is always in effect, silently working, and you are either aligned with it or opposed by it. Relationships are governed by this law as well. No one escapes it. Neglect a loved one, ignore a friend, fail to communicate, or fail to show appreciation, and over time, the bond erodes. It does not matter how strong the connection once was. It does not matter how much affection was present at the beginning. Neglect compounds, and eventually, distance grows where once there was closeness. Conversely, when you consistently nourish relationships, when you listen, when you communicate, when you show gratitude, when you invest time and energy, the bond strengthens, resilience forms, and trust deepens. The law applies impartially. There is no escape because relationships respond to attention or the lack of it just as surely as day follows night. Your skills and knowledge are subject to the same universal principle. The law does not care about talent alone. It does not reward intention without action. A skill left unpracticed will decline, knowledge left unutilized will fade, and potential left unattended will go unrealized. The law applies equally to every field, every discipline, every endeavor. But when you nourish your abilities, when you practice consistently, when you seek improvement, when you learn, reflect, the law rewards you in kind. Mastery grows. Confidence grows. Opportunity grows. The law is unbiased, unrelenting, and ever-present, and there is no escape for those who ignore it. Even the most fleeting dreams and desires are subject to this law. Dreams do not survive on hope alone. They do not flourish by chance. They respond to attention, effort, and focus. The law ensures that neglected dreams fade, while nourished dreams grow. Every small choice, every action, every step taken toward your goal compounds into results. Ignore the law, and your dreams will remain fantasies. Apply the law, and they transform into reality. This is the inescapable truth. The law does not care about excuses. It does not care about your feelings or your comfort. It works, always, on what is fed and what is ignored. Even adversity obeys this law. Challenges, setbacks, failures. These are not exceptions. They are opportunities for nourishment or neglect. A person can face difficulty and allow it to destroy their confidence, erode their relationships, and damage their health. Another person can face the same difficulty and use it as fertilizer for growth, learning, and strength. The law applies equally to both. It does not take sides. It simply multiplies what you feed. Feed fear, resentment, or despair, and you reap more of it. Feed resilience, learning, and perseverance, and you reap strength beyond what you imagined possible. There is no escape from this principle because life itself enforces it. Time is another aspect where this law is inescapable. Time moves forward relentlessly, independent of human desire or convenience. Every moment wasted, every opportunity ignored, every decision postponed is fed into the law, and the consequences arrive inevitably. Similarly, every moment spent intentionally, every action taken to improve, every choice made to grow, compounds over time into extraordinary results. The law is impartial to procrastination, distraction, or excuse. It simply multiplies what you give it. There is no escape because every second you live is subject to this universal principle. The law also applies to your thoughts and mindset. What you feed your mind grows. Thoughts of doubt, fear, and limitation multiply when nurtured. Thoughts of courage, possibility, and abundance multiply when nourished. The mind does not escape the law. It responds without discrimination to attention and focus. Your mental landscape, like your external life, thrives or suffers based on what you feed it. There is no escape because every thought you entertain and every belief you cultivate contributes to the reality you experience. Consider your influence on others. Every interaction, every word, every gesture, and every act of example is subject to this law. Neglect to be a positive force, and your influence diminishes. Choose to nourish, inspire, and lift those around you, and the law multiplies your impact. Leaders, parents, teachers, mentors, and friends all experience this principle. Influence is not static. It grows or shrinks based on attention and care. The law applies without exception, without pause, and there is no escape for those who fail to recognize it. The law of life does not negotiate with circumstance. It does not care about luck, convenience, or intent. It responds only to input. Neglect yields decay, nourished effort yields growth. The universality of this law means that no matter where you are, no matter your status, no matter your past, it applies equally to you. Health, relationships, skills, dreams, mindset, and influence all respond, all multiply, all compound, all diminish based on your attention and care. There is no escape because the law is life itself, and life cannot be avoided. Even the environment around you is subject to this law. Your surroundings, the culture you immerse yourself in, the people you associate with, they all respond to attention and care. Neglect your environment and negativity, chaos, and decay grow. Nourish your environment with positivity, order, and intention, and growth, opportunity, and inspiration multiply. The law does not exempt any area of your life. Everything responds. Everything is subject. There is no escape because neglect and nourishment are universal currencies, and life rewards or punishes according to what you invest in consistently. The inescapable truth is that this law governs the entirety of existence. Every choice, every action, every investment of time, energy, and attention is subject to its principle. You may try to avoid it, ignore it, or deny it, but the law still works. Every neglect compounds into decay. Every act of nourishment compounds into growth. Life does not pause, it does not wait, it does not question, and it does not forgive negligence. Its response is automatic, impartial, and constant.